favor do you need me to do? And in the desire for position, prestige, and prosperity, I can hear them saying, yeah, when you come into your own, yes, you know when you make it, when you take over your kingdom. Look at here, we know that there's two good qualified fellows that one need to be on the right and one to be on the left. It really doesn't matter which side they put us on, but do you think we could be those two fellows? I wonder if you can hear yourself perhaps praying a prayer with the same type of motion. And I need to slow down, I want to get there. Asking God for something that's motivated only for position, prestige, and prosperity. Well, my question to you is this. Look at the neighbor and say, neighbor, what kind of questions are you asking Jesus? And my question to you is, are you willing to pay the price for God to answer your prayer? For both of our sisters, not only did James and John ask this question in our lesson, but Jesus asked a couple of questions of his own. Well, now I want to submit to you that throughout his ministry, Jesus had asked many questions. In Matthew 6, after teaching the disciples the model prayer, Jesus asked, and why do you worry about clothes? Somebody say ouch. Matthew 7, Jesus asked his followers, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? Oh yeah, I can hear your brothers saying, you ought to spend 6 months minding your own business and 6 months leaving mine alone. Man, somebody wanted to tell somebody that this week. Matthew 16, we hear Jesus when he had come to the region of Caesarea Philippi. He asked his disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? After they had given an answer and thought that Jesus was satisfied, I heard him ask him, who do you say that I am? Yes, Hosanna and friends, who do you say that Jesus is? Matthew 21, after the Pharisees asked Jesus by what authority he had chased the money changers from the temple, Jesus asked him, he said, John's baptism, where did it come from? Was it from heaven or from me? I will submit to you that we ought to know better than to try to ask Jesus a question that challenges his authority. Mark 5, when the woman had spent her life savings and on her failing health, she reached out in one last desperate attempt for healing. And I will submit to you it was a literal life or death situation. She reached out and touched the tassel on his garment, and I heard the Bible say that Jesus asked a crazy question. In the midst of a crowd of thousands of things, folks all packed around him, I heard him say, who touched my clothes? In Mark 5, to the weary boxes situation. Verse 38, he says, but Jesus said to them, you do not know what you ask for. Well, are you able to drink the cup that I drink and be baptized with the baptism that I baptize with? But my brothers and my sisters, it is not right to give a quick answer when Jesus asks us a question. Well, because we will be held accountable for our answers. But I wonder if anybody here today can feel the scorn that perhaps James and John must have felt as Jesus replied to them. He said, you will indeed drink the cup that I drink. Yes. And will, with the baptism I was baptized, you will be baptized. Yes. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give. Yes. But it is for those for whom it has been prepared. Yes. If I could put it in Martha's own words, I can hear him saying is, yeah, you're going to go through what I'm going through. Yes. But the question you asked about position, on my left and my right has already been prepared for those that are willing to pay the price. My brothers and sisters, in the words of the Lions, I heard them say the question is, will I ever leave? Will I do your will? When will Jesus return? But my question this afternoon is, are you willing to pay the price? Well, in our lesson today, not only do we have the questions, but we have the quarrels. Once again, as with the question, there is a quarrel between James, John, and the other disciples. And what we can consider as a quarrel between James, John, and Jesus. Go with me to verse number 41. And when the 10 heard, they began to be greatly displeased with James and John. Well, to my Bible readers, you know and may be familiar with several notable quarrels in the Bible. I was submitted the first one began with Adam and Eve, husband and wife. There's some awful quarrels between husbands and wives. Well, like father, like son. The next one we might find is the issue between Cain and Abel over a sacrifice of whose was accepted and whose was not. Then there was Sarah and Hagar, Jacob and Esau, Leah and Rachel, Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. And the list goes on and on. But my brother